topics tonight, and I definitely want to hear what some of our people got to say about this. Definitely want to hear what some of our people got to say. For those that come on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, like, share, comment on tonight's broadcast. Once again, for those that's going to be on YouTube, subscribe, like, share, comment on tonight's broadcast. For those that's in the space, if you have not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you don't visit newstoter.com daily, I need you to go ahead and make that a priority as well, too. That'll keep you up to date on what's going on in Black America. I promise you'll find some kind of content on that site where you say, well, damn, I didn't know this. Damn, let me check this out right here. So let me go ahead and get into it. The first article I want to touch up on is, of course, about the Proud Boys. We saw the arrest of their ex-leader, Enrique Tarrio. He's to be sentenced 22 years, between 2 years, for his role in the January 6th uprising. Now, this article was dated by maybe a day, so they don't actually have that he was what he was actually sentenced. Of course, we all know he got 22 years. So let me go ahead real quick and touch up on that. I want to touch up on, like I said, the death of the young child, a 12-year-old child that ended up dying, basically a heat exhaustion, cardiac arrest, whatever you want to call it. That child was ran out there in severe weather and ended up passing away. So our prayers to him and his family as well, too. Ex-Proud Boy leaders Enrique Tarrio to be sentenced for Capitol riot. Enrique Tarrio was convicted of serious conspiracy and other charges. Tarrio was in prison in Washington during the riot on January 6, 2021, having been arrested in order to leave the city before the unrest. Instead, he watched from a hotel room in nearby Baltimore. After the November 2020 U.S. presidential election, Tarrio and other Proud Boys posted a number of threatening messages online warning of violence and unrest if Donald Trump left the office. That month, Tarrio replied to an online post by Joe Biden writing, "You need to remember the American people are at war with you. No Trump, no peace, no quarter." The Proud Boys and other groups rallied in support of Mr. Trump in Washington, D.C. On the 12th of December 2020, they clashed with anti-fascists and counter-protesters, and one Proud Boy was stabbed on that day. Tarrio burned a Black Lives Matter banner that was taken from an African-American church. When he attempted to return to the National Capitol in early January, he was arrested for the banner burning. He was found with a high-capacity ammunition magazine, which is illegal under the city's gun laws. He was released on bail in order to leave Washington. During the January 6th riot, he posted online, "After I finish watching this, I'll make a statement about my arrest. But for now, I'm enjoying the show. Do what must be done." He urged the rioters not to leave. Prosecutors have asked for a sentence of 33 years in prison. Of course, he didn't get to 33 years. He got to 22 years. Serious conspiracy is rarely used in law, which prohibits using force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States. In May, Tarrio was also convicted of obstruction and conspiracy charges, civil disorder, and destruction of government property. The trial of Tarrio, four other Proud Boys. Earlier this year, prosecutors introduced a long list of text messages, social media posts, and videos as evidence of a coordinated plot to try to stop the certification of election result. Lawyers for the defendants argue that the group was poorly organized, mostly nonviolent, and that there were no preconceived plan to storm the building. Four Proud Boys in the U.S. Capitol riot case. Proud Boys who led Capitol riot jail for 18 years, who are the Proud Boys. The group was founded in New York City in 2016 by Gavin McInnes, a co-founder of Vice, who left the media company to embark on a career as a right-wing commentator and podcaster. The Proud Boys described themselves as an all-male drinking club or a pro-Western fraternal organization, but they were immersed in far-right politics from the start and became well-known for frequent brawls with the left-wing anti-fascist or Antifa activists in cities across the U.S. Their profile grew after they were mentioned during a discussion about political violence during the presidential debate in 2020. Proud Boys stand back and stand by. Mr. Trump said at the time, "I tell you, somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left because this is not a right-wing problem." So yeah, these jokers been around for a little hot minute here. So, and old boy got him 22 years in prison for that. So they wanted to get him 33, but he got 22 years. Oddly enough, you had a few people that actually started getting, they let so many people just gave him slaps on the wrist But you saw us seeing, I think they said Joe Biggs, U.S. Army veteran who led a contingent of Proud Boys to the U.S. Capitol, was sentenced to 17 years in prison. Ethan Norton, a Proud Boy from Washington State, who's one of the group's leaders, was handed 18-year term. So you had a couple guys that got, 18, 17. You got one that got 10 years, 15 years. A lot of people early on was just getting slapped on the wrist. It says in total, more than 1,100 people have been arrested on the Capitol riot-related charges, resulting in 630 guilty pleas and more than 110 convictions. Nearly 500 offenders have been sentenced to prison or house arrest. I don't really know how you can get house arrest trying to lead an insurrection of the government, but nonetheless, quite a few of them, they gave some serious time to some of them. Quite a few of them got actual slap on the wrist. Shout out to everybody coming up in the space tonight. I see Trouble up in here as well, too. Shout out to Trouble. Shout out to Goddess. Shout out to Carlos and a bunch of guys coming up in here, too. Minister Ali, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're talking about the Proud Boys and Enrique Tarrio, who just got 22-year prison sentence. Like I just mentioned, he had a number of other Proud Boys, 17 years, 18 years, 10 years, 15 years. A whole lot of them got a little bit of jail time, a little bit of prison time. He had over 1,100 people that took part in this damn thing here. So for everybody that actually ended up getting some serious time, there was a lot of people that just got mere slaps on their wrist. It says in total more than 1,100 people have been arrested on Capitol riot-related charges. So, like I say, for the ones who actually saw some severe time or going to get some severe time, there's a whole bunch of these jokers that ain't getting squat. So, hey, the Proud Boys took one on the chin right here, but it could have been a lot worse. Could have been a public execution. I mean, they were traitors to the country. They did lead an insurrection, but the United States to show they have a long history of allowing traitors to go ahead and lead insurrections and also live. Unlike the traitors that was in the Civil War, who got a slap on the wrist and got to go ahead and teach colleges, like Robert E. Lee and some of the rest of them that got to retire in peace and whatnot. Some of these traitors will actually do some jail time here. So big difference, I guess. Big difference. Of course, they didn't pose the kind of threat that the Confederates posed to the actual Union, but nonetheless, let's go ahead. And I want to speak on this situation as well, too. I see my boy Black Pressure coming up here as well, too. And I want to get some of y'all to come up here as well, too, man, because like I said, we talking about the Proud Boys and Enrique. We got to talk about this 12-year-old child that was ran to death and died in PE out there in California. Got to talk about that as well, too. And we got to talk about some of these slumlords. There's one in particular article I want to touch up on. When you talk about being a slumlord, I mean, this is the key essence of what it is to actually be a damn slumlord right here. So we're definitely going to be getting it in as well tonight. From the Sacramento Observer, that's up in the article's up in the Jumbotron. A tragic death. Health fears add to concern over California new extreme heat reality. A Riverside County family is grieving and a local community is stunned after a 12-year-old boy suffered a fatal medical emergency during excessive heat wave last week in Elsinore. On August 29th, Joshua Robinson, a student at Lake Canyon Middle School, allegedly did not dress out appropriately for gym class and was consequently punished by running laps in his street clothes. His aunt told NBC4 Los Angeles that he was denied a water break by his physical education teacher. His classmates reported that Robinson repeatedly complained of difficulty breathing before collapsing and becoming unresponsive. Despite the efforts of medical professionals, Robinson was pronounced dead at Loma Linda University Medical Center. The coroner's report attributed Robinson's death to cardiac arrest. You got a 12-year-old dying of cardiac arrest. Let's let that sink in for a second. On the day of the incident, temperatures reached a high of 106 degrees. The California Department of Education advises schools throughout the state to assess whether outdoor activities such as physical education and sports should continue under such conditions. However, it is still being investigated whether the proper protocol was followed. At 11 a.m., Riverside County Sheriff's deputy were called to the school. Our hearts are with the family, friends, and our school community, said Lake Canyon Middle School Principal Gil Rodriguez. The family has since started a GoFundMe page to raise money for funeral costs and other related expenses for the child they affectionately call Yaya. Around the state, there's growing concern among Black Californians about how extreme heat could affect elderly families, impact skin care, and exacerbate other health concerns. Authorities have warned that sweltering temperatures will now be part of life in the Golden State. Worldwide, July was the hottest month on record. In California, Governor's Office reports that 2023 is shaping up to be the hottest year on record. During an August 29th press briefing hosted by Ethnic Media Services and California Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communications, speakers discussed what's changed and what can we do about this new reality. These are not your grandmother's heat waves, said Brandon K., Extreme Heat Community Resilience Program Manager for California's Governor Office of Planning and Research. We have a critical need to support behavior change and mind shift for a lot of people who feel their bodies should just be able to handle the heat, but are not. K continued, not just today, not just this summer, not just next summer, but for decades to come. According to K, extreme heat is a climate risk that all 58 counties of California will face, noting that 90-degree weather now sometimes occurs as early as March and as late as November. Sarah Gardner, a massage therapist in San Diego, and skincare is extremely important during the heat waves. Everyone should wear sunscreen to protect their skin from dangerous sun rays. Experts who participated in the EMS news briefing said Black Californians, indigenous communities, and other people of color are the most affected by health disparities worsened by extreme heat and are at a higher risk of heat-related deaths. As doctors, perhaps one of the most useful things that we can educate the public, says Sharon Holmes, a doctor of family medicine at Kaiser, Southern California. Older adults in general don't feel as thirsty, but I'm telling them stay on top of your hydration. Add lime, lemon, cucumber, whatever's necessary to make you have an incentive for drinking to combat extreme heat. California is making historic investments in climate action and public awareness. The state has launched a website, heatreadyca.com. It is an all-of-state government approach to the challenge, Kay said. The site offers a new program to support awareness campaigns and add trees and shade infrastructures. Last week, the governor's office of emergency services released a number of online toolkits to inform residents about extreme heat and natural disasters. So to make a long story short, California, like the rest of the country, is dealing with extreme heats. So we should all know that when you have an extreme heat, that you don't go out there, and those kids probably shouldn't even been out there for PE participating. But you don't punish a child simply because the child didn't have the appropriate attire for PE. It's been times that back in the day, we dressed out for PE. If you did not have your PE clothes and you were marked with a 0 for that day, you sat down, you didn't participate in any activities. I never once remember anybody being punished and forced to run laps because you didn't have your actual PE outfit. If you had your street clothes on, you just couldn't participate that day in PE. But never once have I ever remembered a child ever having to run around, do laps because you did not have your PE clothes on. So that, to me, that makes no sense. Secondly, they're saying the temperatures got up to 106 degrees, as hot as that. So I'm figuring if the cops showed up around 11 o'clock to the school, that means around 10 something. It had to be around 10:30, 10:40. I'm thinking, this situation had to happen. Well, we all know, being here in Florida, I can tell you, this summer in particular, you're talking about 10:30, you're talking about 10 o'clock. You already got temperature at we've had this heat wave. You already got temperature at 90, 95 degrees. So right then and there, whatever those kids was doing should have been limited in terms of their participation. You had some of his classmates saying that he was complaining, of having problems breathing. The teacher or whoever, the PE teacher, and this is allegedly, he still was running. You have the aunt was saying that he didn't get a water break. So just some of the stuff that we're hearing from this right here. The kids complain of issues with breathing. You have the aunt saying, and I don't know how the aunt would know, but the aunt saying that he asked for a water break, he didn't get a water break. We see a record temperature, 106 degrees it got to that day. So that means that at 10 o'clock, 10:30. Whatever time this happened, it had to already be in the mid to high 90s. And you're punishing a child. You're making him run laps for not having his PE outfit. I mean, please explain to me. Make that make sense right there. Like I say, back in the day, if you did not have your PE outfit, you sat down for the day. You didn't participate. You didn't play any sports. You sat on the bench or the bleachers or wherever you was at, or you stood up. If you was outside, you stood outside. And you stayed off to the sideline, and that was that. And then the next day you would come back, bring your clothes, and you participate. But nobody ever in PE was forced to run laps for simply not having their PE outfit or not, or the outfit based on what the article said. Let me find that said allegedly did not dress out appropriately. So I don't know how you could not dress out appropriately. Either you got the outfit or you don't have it. Simple as that. Another head scratcher going on in California. California and Florida truly are twins, even though one's on the East Coast and one's on the West Coast. They're truly twins with some of the dumb stuff that they can do here. So, and the article makes perfect sense. We're talking about the heat wave, and we're talking about elderly people, we're talking about black people, and we're talking about other groups and stuff like that. We know that you have to take certain precautions when you have this heat wave the way it's been going. And one thing they're doing, if it gets to a certain temperature, they're not knowing here in Florida, they're not allowing kids to go out certain days. Hell, you had football season just started back, and they had to cancel practice, for a couple of the for the actual high school teams up here. So if you got high schoolers that's used to going out there practicing playing football, I know goodness well a 12-year-old, you shouldn't have them out there running like that. So, and depending on what this kid was wearing, he was wearing his regular street clothes. Who knows? He could have had jeans on and a shirt. Who knows what he was wearing while you had him out here? Don't know how many laps he had to run. Don't know, how what kind of distance it was. So it just makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. And I'm just trying to figure out how this is. I want to see what course of action that the family is going to do. If I had the actual GoFundMe, guys, I would put it up in the Jumbotron. I know they said that they since started a GoFundMe to raise money for the funeral costs. Our heart goes out to this family. Last night, we were just having a discussion about the sister that was killed, pregnant sister that was shot by the police. Now we have one that she was 21, and this little kid is 12. So that goes to show you just how young both of them are, and they lost their lives behind it, and behind something that could be prevented as well too. Because like I said, I'm having a hard time with the way this summer's been going, record heat wave, and you sit out there and you're punishing a child. You're punishing a child. The punishment alone should be, hey, you don't get to participate, and you're gonna get a zero for the day or whatever in terms of participation. You don't punish a child by making a child run. I mean, the child's not on a sports team, anything like that. You don't punish a child simply because, hey, he may have forgot his clothes. He may have, he may have left his clothes at the house and forgot to bring his clothes to school the next day, didn't bring them, put them in the locker. So totally uncalled for. Something that could have been totally prevented. The school board is at fault here because you hired this dumbass teacher. The teacher is responsible. The PE teacher is responsible, in my personal opinion. This PE teacher should have enough common sense to know that you don't do that. Everybody's taking precaution to all of the weather that we're having. You're having, I think in Philadelphia or some of those schools up north that don't have air conditioners, they had to go ahead and let kids go home early the other day. Some of them are not opening up the schools. Some of them saying this, schools might not open up to after a week or two after Labor Day because they don't have air conditioners up there. So I just totally ridiculous here. Totally 110% ridiculous. You get to the next article. DJ, what's up, man? You want to say something real quick? Like touch about this slum lord here. Okay, DJ might not be there, so let me go. What's up, Original? I see you came up here in the speaker spot. You and Black Pressure as well too. Let me touch up real quick, guys, on this very quick article from the Kansas City Defender, and it's talking about the living condition of these people in this apartment. And just let you guys hear this real quick. This is from the Kansas City Defender. It's up in the Jumbotron as well too. Roaches, mice, mass flooding. Residents at KC's Quality Hill Towers living in lethal conditions under predator landlord who still demands full rent payments. As the struggle for safe, affordable housing rages on, residents at Quality Hill Towers find themselves at a tipping point. The capitalist indifference of Senator, their landlord, continues to deepen their daily crisis. Despite a formal agreement in July, the company has failed to meet the Quality Hill Towers tenant union's most basic demands for livable conditions. This fight is now escalated into a full-blown uprising. Living conditions are both horrific and potentially lethal. The building is swarming with roaches, bed bugs, and mice. Appliances required for cooking and bathing are more likely to be out of order than not. Adding to this torment, the building experienced a water outage this past Saturday, and mass flooding has overwhelmed floors, stairwells, and common areas for 4 days. Yet, despite enduring such traumatic experiences, they have received zero compensation. Meanwhile, the landlord has the audacity to continue cashing rent checks. Central, the landlord isn't just failing to provide essential services, he is actively exploiting tenants, forcing them to pay full rent while delivering dangerous, life threatening conditions. The Quality Hill Towers Tenant Union isn't standing for it. In a bold move, they filed 50 Healthy Homes report highlighting the blatant code violations rampant throughout the complex. Today, the tenant union is taking further steps to expose Central's criminal negligence. They're reaching out to the city's Healthy Homes Department to demand an immediate investigation into Central's practices and to question why this corporation has been allowed to perpetuate such harm. Now, when we say slumlords, it's exactly the meaning of slumlords. Ran down buildings, getting fist over dollars, won't fix anything, don't care how people living, don't care about people's family, don't care about how it's affecting their health, their well-being. So long as he can line his pockets, not trying to fix a damn thing, not going to do anything, but making fist over dollars off of people's misery here. What's up, original? I see you up in the spot as well too. And let me give a shout out to all of y'all coming up in here as well too. Shout out to Carlos and Cassandra and everybody else that's coming up in here. Y'all definitely go ahead and definitely go ahead and tweet out the actual space, tweet out the space. That'll be a big favor. I see Chantel is up in here as well too. Original, what's going on with you? How you doing tonight?
Doing great. Peace, black power, and lineage-based reparation. This is a damn shame that what happened to one of our children. And I would suggest to people, whether you have children, whether they be your or you have nieces, nephews, or whatever, any young family member, you you all need to tell them that if the child is being forced to do some stupidity like this, they need to contact. Just sit down, don't do anything, and contact the parents. Because see, I remember, when I was in high school, the PE coach pissed me off because he started trying to get real aggressive towards me because see, he wanted me to run track and play basketball. And I'm like, well, I don't feel like, and see, but after I saw how they would treat these black guys, I'm like, oh hell no, you ain't talking to me like that. I said, if you want me to do something, then you better ask me because I don't respond to yell. And that's what I told him. And so, he was like, well, I would do what I want to. And he got mad at me too. So then I started rebelling against him. I come in like you talked about. We had to dress out too. I come in Monday, said, Original, where's your uniform? It's in the clothes hamper. On Tuesday, it's in the washing machine. Wednesday, it's in the dryer. Thursday, oh, I forgot. I gave that man hell because there was no way in hell this low-down cracker was going to tell me what I was going to do. I wasn't happy. And see, my brother, he played, basketball and football. I'm like, did y'all see how they treat y'all? Well, they go like, well, I just want to play. Shit, hell, I don't want to play that damn bad. Hell no. But I remember there was once in PE, we had to do this, we had to do the high hurdles. So I had, how when you jump the high hurdle, if your foot catch it, it just falls forward. So I had a friend of mine to turn around in the opposite direction. And I jumped each one of them with room to spare because if my foot had caught that hurdle, I'd have kissed that damn asphalt. So I could run and jump, but I just wasn't going to do it for them. I said, oh, hell no, I'm not, y'all not treating me like this. And the way I said, oh, hell no. So I didn't do anything. I stuck to my schoolwork. But I think sometimes we're going to have to teach our children that, if they're putting you in a position where you don't feel comfortable, just sit down and tell them to call your parents. That you are not going to do this, you're not being disrespectful, but you don't feel comfortable doing this. But there's no reason for this child to be dead that you're gonna make a child run laps, and it's 90 to 100 degrees outside, yeah, he is responsible for this child's death. And this is a damn shame. And I would suggest to anybody, teach your children to just not comply with these nutcases. You know, I mean, this really pisses me off. It really does. And it makes me feel good that I rebelled on their asses when I was in high school. Yeah, they tried to make me run track, and I said, no, I'm not doing it. I'd rather stay in my class. But there were some guys that I went to high school with, you know, they would take PE. This was more or less towards like the 11th or 12th grade. Hell, they would take PE 2 or more times a day. I'm like, that's not an education, that's a disaster. So I got my credits of PE in, and I didn't go back to the gym because I just didn't like. I was not going to allow them to yell at me like as if they don't have any sense. And because I know there was one coach, we almost ended up in a fight. Because if he'd hit me, I'd knock the hell out of it. Because I always kept something with me to hit somebody with. Oh hell no, I was not playing that. Hell no. Now these so-called Proud Boys, the Newstoter, I find it interesting what the news is reporting about these races. See, once they got in the court, just like with dumb Donald Trump, see, they tell all these lies about, oh, the election was rigged, but they conducted all these recounts, but they did not produce any factual evidence stating the election was rigged, the voting machine was tampered with, or anything, right? But I noticed how they would say all these races, when they got into court, they started crying and saying that they were sorry and this, that, and whatever. Even this last one that who just received the 22 years. Now I want you to think about that. See, when the law is against them, they want to lie, cry, and act as if they've had some type of revelation and they're good now. As I keep saying, there are no good white people in this universe. Good and white people don't go together. It just doesn't. My history tells me that it doesn't go together. But I want you to, here's the thing, though, Newstoter. Now, remember, let's see, when did they stop that pre-clearance for the Voting Rights Act, where they could, these southern states had said that times had changed and that they no longer needed that pre-clearance for the Voting Rights Act, right? So now we see what's going on in Alabama, and I'm sure it's going on in other states too, whereby Alabama has gerrymandered the state to suppress the black vote. Now the Supreme Court, came out and said that they was wrong, and they just said they wasn't going to abide by the Supreme Court, and so now it's gone back to I think one of the federal courts, and they're saying no. Well, we're gonna. I think they said they're going to appoint a special prosecutor or whatever to redraw the district lines. See, again, as I keep telling people, you can never ever trust a white person. I don't care how good they may say they are. I don't care what level of religion they in. If they the head pimp of the religion, they can never be trusted. And we have to begin to do something to remove our children from these evil people, because there isn't any good in them. There's no such thing as a good white person, in my opinion, which I am entitled to, because good and white just don't go together. Okay, now where was this slumlord located? Because I was kind of distracted with some other stuff.
This was in Kansas City, I believe.
Okay, Missouri. That's it. Okay. Yeah, this is interesting because see, now that now that you have these people now that where this thing with COVID, and whereby now you have a lot of people that may be displaced from their home, especially those who are renting, and they're going to be forced to live in places whereby the owner of the property don't give a damn and allow the property to deteriorate. This is insane, and I hope that these people, that somebody or some agency or whatever has taken this case on pro bono and going to support these people, because this is just insane that you got these people have these dilapidated buildings, and they're allowing people to live there. But to truth be told, there are some of those same buildings around the Atlanta area, and I feel sorry for our people who live there. They're good people. You can't, say that the people are bad just because of their socioeconomic standing. They deserve just as much as everybody else. It's just that for whatever reason, they are at that level. But you got, there was some properties here whereby some of them had been somewhat abandoned, but people were still living there because they didn't have anywhere to go. Because the so-called black elected officials, when they tore down all the housing projects in Atlanta, they didn't rebuild them. So we don't know where the people went. Some say they went to Clayton County. We don't know, but they just all of a sudden they disappeared. It was just like overnight. The people just was gone, and they tore those properties down and did not rebuild them with anything else. So that's and it's because of these black elected officials and others that are allowing this to happen. So this just doesn't. It just doesn't make any sense, and I feel sorry for our people that have to go through this. But this shouldn't be happening. It really shouldn't. And I'm gonna land with that.
All right, thank you, Original, and I'm with you on that. The situation with the child that was 12 years old. I guess when you think about it from a child's perspective, and what you're saying, it would have to be the parent would actually have to instill that in them, because children are used to taking orders from grown-ups and stuff, especially at school. People they consider an authority position. So the teacher tells you to go out there and run. That child is going to say, well, you know what? Especially most kids like, well, my mom and dad always told me to respect grown-ups and to listen to what grown-ups say and do this and do that or whatever. So that child's going to go out there and he's going to run and he's going to do what that teacher's telling them for the most part, whether it's one of his math teacher or his PE teacher. So you, as a parent, you yourself would have to say, hey, you know what, son, daughter, if it's 90 some odd degrees out there and that teacher's telling you to go out there and y'all going to do this and do that or whatever, you got to tell them no. And if you have a problem, then go ahead. My mom, you can call my mom, you can call my dad. That's the only way I think, Original, that in most instances. Now you have some kids out there. We know you got some kids that tell you to go to hell. But for the most part, most kids are going to be like, okay, well, this is an authority figure. They telling me what to do. If I don't do it, then I'm going to get in trouble. I could get detention. I could possibly get suspended. I can get this or that or whatever. Then I go home and I get in trouble. They'll say I was being disrespectful to my teacher. I didn't listen or whatever. So as a parent, you would almost have to go ahead and instill this into the child. Like, hey, this is something that's life threatening right here. And if anybody has a problem with it or whatever, then you know what? Have them call me and I'll come out to the school and we'll straighten it out and this and that or whatever. And if you get in trouble, then hey, you just get in trouble, but you won't be in trouble by me. So, and you're right, that teacher, that PE teacher, I blame that PE teacher for the death of this child, because that, like I said, that made no sense. You got people that's in construction work at this time of year with the weather the way it is, that they're not sitting out there in the heat of the day doing this stuff. These guys get up early. A lot of roofers that I know used to get up around 4, 5 in the morning, and by the time 1 o'clock comes, they checking out because it's too hot to be up there on that damn roof with that asphalt and everything else. So let alone having a 12-year-old child sitting up here in street clothes, running who knows how many laps. Like I say, how many laps that child had to run. The understanding of the child was denied a water break. You had the classmates saying that the child was complaining about breathing and stuff like that, having a hard time breathing. You got a 12-year-old child that just died of cardiac arrest. Now let that just sink in. You got a 12-year-old child that just died of cardiac arrest. Something that was totally preventable. Something that this teacher should have knew better. Because if you're a PE teacher, that means you had to take health and everything else as well too. So you know about the human body. You know damn well no 12-year-old should be up there, sitting up there, and this was, and like I said, that day the temperature rose to as hot as 106 degrees in California. So that meant, like I say, just doing it, trying to go back and backtrack the actual time. The police was called out there around 11 o'clock. So that means that this had to happen between 10:30, 10:40. I'm saying 10:30, 10:45. You already talk about 90 some odd degree weather out there. No way in the world this dumbass teacher should have sent this child out there to run like that. I mean, the teacher act like the teacher act like they had no sense themselves. So, straight 88. Go ahead and unmute your mic. You got it.
Good evening.
Hey, how you
Don't
doing?
start. Don't start that. Hey, it's not. Being a retired educator, um, we have to teach our kids to come home and tell us about their day, but we also have to learn how to prompt them. I started that with my kids at a very early age, head start age, and asking them about their day and what's a good thing that happened today, what's a bad thing that happened today. You know, and I also always made it a point to go and meet the teachers, especially if they're going to a school where I know that their teachers aren't all going to be black, because I can get a vibe just from talking to a white person and tell where they're coming from. And a lot of white people do like to bully our kids. I saw it on a day-to-day basis in the 17 years that I was an educator. And I would also, and I would say this to black educators out there, I would also, at the very beginning of the school year, I would call and introduce myself to all the kids that were on our roster and let them know who I was, let them know a little synopsis about me. I'm a mother as well. When your kids enter my classroom, they become part of my family, et cetera, et cetera. But we also need to start speaking up when we see these teachers that operate in that way. Because if you're an educator, you're working with other educators, you know who is racist and who's not. But I also think we just need to get our kids out of this public education thing, period. We need to church school. And this is where churches need to start stepping up in the neighborhoods that they collect money from, et cetera, et cetera. If they're going to be in your neighborhood, they're going to have some programs for your kids. There's going to have to be programs for the kids. We're going to have to take this back to a village thing with the way that everything is operating now, with them trying to cut out history and everything else, and having these police on the campuses, et cetera, et cetera. Because this prison to school thing, school to prison, is real. It's very real. And I would also suggest to parents to get the book. They have several books. It's several editions of his book with different topics. And it's a conspiracy to destroy black boys. I can't remember his name, Jafu something, but I can't remember his name right now offhand. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I think that's like, if you have kids, that's our Black Bible as far as education goes. Because the way he breaks it down and lets you know that this is some deep stuff, the way these white people have set this thing up to destroy us, especially in learning and education. This is a whole plan to destroy. And my other thing is, I used to always say to people, where do you think these white supremacists, and we got to find another word. We got to find another word for that, because that just don't fit. Because ain't nothing supreme about it. We just got to find another word for that, because that don't fit. But where do you think their wives, sisters, mothers, where do you think they work at? That's the prime place for them to go to schools. Thank you, and I'll land there.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Anybody else that wants to come up and speak tonight as well, too, we definitely want to hear what you said. The topic of the room tonight, we're talking about the Proud Boys. Enrique Tarrio got 22 years in prison for basically his role in being one of the organizers behind the actual Capitol attack. We're talking about a 12-year-old child that was also just died. Just I don't even want to say died. Well, he did die, but basically was ran to death by his PE coach. And we're also talking about slumlords as well too. And if you have any instances of slumlords out there, please go ahead. Feel free to actually speak about it, talk about it, because there's a whole bunch of slumlords that's in the U.S. that's getting a fist over dollar for rent as well too. So definitely feel free to speak on it. Straight 88. I think your mic might not be muted. Did you? Okay. Okay. Who is this? Lion ass. Lion ass. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, it's me, Ricky.
Oh, what's up, Ribby?
I had to change my name. How much how y'all doing? Oh man, so I don't know about
Ribby, you kind of low. Can we get you a little bit louder? You got your Bluetooth on or anything?
I made sure to turn it off. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you, but you just was kind of low.
My lower speaking voice. I'm off work yelling more. I'll try to put my
Okay, you sound much louder now. Keep it like, yeah. You sound much louder.
okay. I don't know too much about the slumlords thing, so I'm just gonna kind of really quick to touch on the first two things. The Enrique Tarrio guy, that's interesting. Uh, Whoever was keeping up with that, because did he get caught up a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago? That no problem was.
He has some charges already pending. He already has some charges pending, but of course, the big thing was this the whole Capitol riot thing. That he's one of the masterminds behind it.
Yeah, but they're saying that he wasn't even there. So for me, you know, outside of Capitol thing, um, this is why it's important not to have leaders who are trying to put your face on everything. And that guy's, it's funny that it happened to him, and it's funny that stuff I see. He's a person of color. Why are black people so happy? He's happy. He's a black person. I don't care about it. What I'm looking at is I'm looking at what he's doing tactically. Okay? A lot of people trying to put a face. Somebody had a room the other night. Will all these groups, Secure Tribe, FBA, et cetera, free, will they ever get together? And the recurring theme is that there's one, if not all, of these particular groups, there's one person or several individuals out of these groups that want to be the face of everything. And I don't think that's good. They might have good intentions, but other people who are labeling themselves, example of that is when that subway shooting happened. First thing the feds did was get on Tariq's page and say, hey, this dude is following you and it must be to his house. So, it's knocking on my window. I don't know if that can help me. The first thing they did was go to his house. So, that whole Enrique thing, I think it's good that he's gone. I don't really care too much about the Proud Boys. Whatever the Boogaloo motherfuckers here in Tulsa, they run around with the t-shirts and their rifles. They dress up. I think it's cute. But other than that, I don't think too much of it other than I see it. It's not being sound tactical. So, anyways, the other thing was the 12-year-old that ran. This is a good one because I got a buddy of mine. DHS was sent to his house for disciplining his children. I'm not saying what happened to the child's victim, but we've been trying to figure out alternatives other than him beating his children because kids get talking when they go to school. And for some context, it's probably keep in mind. The kids went to a pool that was supposed to be learning how to swim. And instead of learning how to swim, they chose to run around the pool and push each other in the pool. So, as the father, disciplinary action was to spank the kids, right? And honestly, we all want the best for our kids, and we don't want to see them die. And sometimes you gotta lay that ride. You'll spoil the child, or worse, the child's gonna end up dying or making bad mistakes that you get them killed. Hold on 1 second.
Alrighty. Okay, Black Pressure. I saw you. You left a comment in the actual comment section as well. Too. You said negative. I'm not sure what the negative meant. I know Pressure. You might be at work too. So if you hear, let me know what the negative meant.
No, I'm at the curb. I'm listening. The negative was, I apologize. I don't know the young lady's name. About white supremacy isn't supreme. That is a total 100% negative. That's all I was saying. You don't have to listen.
Oh, okay. So yes, straight 88. I think she was just trying to come up with another name. I guess a lot of times people say I don't want to give them that. I don't want to give people that extra power by saying that you're supreme over this or that or whatever. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Like it's a reason though for the for the term white supremacy when you control everything on earth. I mean, hey, I understand what she's saying, but I definitely understand what you're saying as well too. Because when you control all of the resources and everything on earth, it's kind of hard not to get that label that they got. So I definitely feel you on that part right there. But real quick, Pressure, while I got you up here, what do you feel about the topics? I know you said you was listening. I don't know how much you heard, but what do you feel about just the 12-year-old child that ended up dying basically because of cardiac arrest, heat stroke, heat exhaustion, or whatever you want to say? How do you feel about that?
Mixed emotions. Of course, you don't want any child to die, period. But I was looking at it when you were going over the topic. I was looking at it from a point of vantage of parenting. Like, my son is grown now. I'm old as dirt. So my son is 22. But at 12, my son would have been the child to tell you to go to hell. I'm hot. I'm burning up. You call my daddy. I don't care. That's what my son would have said. But you were right in pointing out that I'm the very end of Generation X. I'm born in '79. So our generation, we were taught that a teacher was an authority figure. So you listen to what an adult said, but in that situation where the physical fitness starts to affect your health and how you feel. Like I said, my child would have told you to go to hell. You call my daddy if you want to. So it's tough, man. It's a shame, but I look at it from different vantage points, and that's why I didn't say nothing. I didn't say anything because that's a tough one, man. I can imagine, my son being 22. If he passed away now, I'd be, inconsolable. And I can imagine at 12, man, that's tough. That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow right there, Pressure. Mine, I still got teenage boys and whatnot, so it's definitely yeah, that lose a child at 12 years of age, something that was totally 100% preventable as well too. That's a tough one. I see we got to I'm gonna get back to you Rivera, but real quick, I see we have somebody on YouTube says, and I guess they're talking about Enrique saying, how do you get 22-year sentence for the January 6th thing when he wasn't even in DC? That's what some people saying, but people saying with text messages and this and that or whatever, he was one of the coordinators of it as well too. So, it doesn't help that he was a dumbass and he constantly stayed his dumbass on TV saying all of this dumb stuff as well too. So they were going to pin it on somebody. There was too many slaps on the wrist that was given out. I mean, there's a whole heap of people that just got, just house arrest and got a little bit of a couple days in jail they spent. So, and this Joker here, I know he claimed to be a Proud Boy or whatever, but he had a deeper tan, let's be for real, than some of those other people that was out there as well too. But his dumb ass, you couldn't tell him. So he had to find out the hard way, unfortunately for him. And well, hey, it is what it is. They were going to put it on somebody. And I know he thought he was a Proud Boy and thought he was part of this Western code and all this other kind of nonsense and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you saw that you weren't quite light enough either, Enrique. So, hey, it happens. Go ahead, Rivera.
Oh, man, I was trying to. What I was trying to make, but he's got shoulders. So trying to address how to discipline his kids without giving them spanking. And I know people say, well, you go overboard. I don't think I think any kind of well-being things to go to kids and say, I got spanking. So
Rivera, I'll just let you know you are really, really low. I don't know if it's just me, but you really low. But go ahead.
okay, here we go. That should help. This phone I got is be scrapped. So for me, the track running thing, I can see what the teacher, and I know that want to get mad about that. I can see where they were going. My thing is that sometimes gauging, because kids will tell you, oh, we've done it. We all got beats. Oh man, it hurts. And the parent is still gonna whoop. They're gonna still keep hitting. Just because you said, oh man, I'm hurting. Oh man, get those tears out of your eyes. You shouldn't have did what you did. I don't know what happened with the child. I'm not making excuses. I think that what it should have been was, instead of the teacher trying to do the discipline, the teacher should have allowed the system to work itself, writing the kid up, putting them in the hallway, and then letting the parent decide how they're going to discipline. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Had this been an incident where the parent had done that and the student died, I think that's something we should look deeper into, if that was to be something that, and I'm saying that it would never happen. But in this case, this makes me once again tactically look and say, man, I don't know how my homeboy is going to be able to discipline his kids. You can't run them. You can't make them do too many push-ups. You can't make them do this. Now you can't beat them no more. I am totally for disciplining children. I think that the school system, if black teachers should be able to discipline the students. Even when I was in school and I had black PE teacher, he would do that. Or when I played football, the black football coaches that I had, they would make us run around the track. That was in middle school. Over and over and over. You came to practice late, you would either run the snake, to the point where you're throwing up. Even in the military. So for me, I don't know, man. I think that we get to a point where we can't do anything anymore, and isolated incidences like this, I think that they should have probably, like I said, let the parents address it, or if the kid had any health history, maybe looked into that, see maybe if he had asthma or something. If it's hot outside, if it's 114 degrees outside, why on earth would you have a child outside running laps? That doesn't make any sense. If there's no water readily available, why on earth would you have a child running laps? These are things we should probably look into, or whoever. I don't think that they're going to do that. I think that they're just going to slap this teacher on the wrist and allow them to go about their day and work in another school district. So that's my concern.
Real talk. Thank you, Rivera. And I'll say this right here from what I read, from what I understand of the article. Pressure, I'm gonna get to you. It got up to 106 that day. I don't know exactly what that 106 had to be the high, so I don't know exactly what the actual temperature was at that time. I would assume, that the temperature had to be at least in the mid 90s or upper 90s. If it got to 106, and this had to happen around, just using my calculation, because they said the police arrived there around 11 o'clock, so this had to happen around, I'm thinking, anywhere from 10:30 to 10:45 or so. So I'm assuming that you already had to be in the mid 90s, possibly even the late 90s. Now that doesn't factor in the heat index as well too. So the heat index could already felt like it was 100 degrees outside. The thing with the issue I'm having here is that, like I say, I was in middle school. I was in middle school in the 90s. If you did not have your PE uniform, you sat out. You got marked. You got marked for not participating that day. You didn't have your attire. You couldn't play. Simple as that. Nobody ever in the entire time I was in whether I was in middle school, high school, elementary, nobody ever punished a child for saying, you know what, you didn't bring your PE outfit today. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make you run some laps. That's my issue right there. That never happened. Now, what you're saying, I played football. A lot of people play sports and stuff like that. Yeah, you come late to practice. Hey, we're gonna run you. You horse playing. You're talking. You're being distracted. You're not paying attention. You're not getting it right. You're constantly making mistakes. Okay, we're gonna run you. You kind of expect that if you're on a team. Okay, you're on the actual team, and even now here in Florida, doing when high school, because high school football just started a couple weeks ago. Even then, during the summer practice, anybody play, if you played varsity, whatever, you had two-a-days and stuff like that. Even now, they've had to cancel practices and stuff because it was simply too hot. It's too hot to go out there. It's 100 degrees. The heat index is 110, 115. You go ahead and you throw on 12 to 15 pounds of equipment, a helmet, and everything else. You're on that hot ass football field. The football field is reading about 120 degrees out there. That's a recipe for disaster. So even the people that have teams and stuff like that, have athletes, have football players, they're saying, you know what, guys, y'all go out there and what we got to wrap practice up early today or this and that or whatever. We can't do it. We can't risk the liability of somebody falling dead out here. So to have a kid that's 12 years old, that's either in the 6th grade or the 7th grade, depending on when their birthday is, and to have that child and to punish that child simply for the fact that that child did not have their uniform, because I've always made an A in PE, but it's times that I have forgot. You may have taken your clothes home to get it washed. Your mom washed it, and hell, you forget to bring it and put it in your book bag and bring it back to school. So, hey, you got to sit out that day, and you get marked a 0 or whatever for your participation that day. Never once did the coach say, you know what, go out there and run a few laps since you forgot to dress out today. Never. So I don't even understand why this person would have gotten some crap like that. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punish this kid right here because this kid didn't bring their uniform, or this kid wasn't dressed appropriately enough for PE, because that's what they say, wasn't dressed appropriately enough. So the kid could have possibly had on shorts and a T-shirt, but it wasn't the right material shorts. I don't know. It wasn't the right length. It wasn't the right shirt or whatever. Never have I ever seen a kid punished for that, for simply not having, not dressing out. So that part, and I get what you're saying, like, yeah, it's nothing wrong with disciplining kids and stuff like that. Let's be for real. One reason that they took corporal punishment out of schools is once they desegregated the schools, they were not about to have some black teacher or principal whipping no white kid's ass. That wasn't going to happen. They were not going to send these, when they started busing schools and integrating schools and stuff like that. Yeah, even at some of these white schools, especially in the South, they had corporal punishment and this and that or whatever. But the time that these white kids and black kids started going to school, they were not going to risk the fact of no black principal or assistant principal or teacher or whatever paddling no white child. That wasn't going to happen. So to save any kid getting their behinds toe up, hey, let's just go ahead and get rid of this corporal punishment altogether. So that's one of the main reasons, because I hear my parents talk about it. My mother, rest in peace, she used to speak about it. My dad used to speak about it. They used to get their butts tore up at school. I mean, people used to get their butts tore up at school for missing a math problem, not doing their homework, things of that nature. You get your butt popped. If you were left-handed, my mom, I'll never forget, she told me how they used to pop her hand with a ruler and stuff because she was left-handed, trying to make her right-handed. Until my grandma went out to that school and straightened that teacher out. Now, this was a black teacher. These were black people that was doing it. These were black schools. They went to these were segregated schools they went to, but they had to go out there and straighten out the black teachers sometimes as well, too. So that's the only thing about it. Yeah, discipline is great and stuff like that, too. But sometimes even some of those black teachers went a little bit too far with some of that stuff as well, too. And then you had to have parents come out there and straighten them and let them know, hey, what's going to fly and what's not going to fly. But for the fact of the matter that we're sitting up here and we're running a damn 12-year-old kid around simply and punishing them, not punishing the kid because, they had gotten into a scrap with another kid, or he was being disrespectful, they were cursing or whatever, simply for the fact that the child forgot their clothes or didn't dress out. And we're going to punish that child, and damn whether that grown people are not even working in. And depending on what type of field you are out there, if you're into construction work or you're into this or you're into that, you got a bunch of people saying, hey, you know what? We shut down work early. We're going to work earlier to try to beat this sun. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's punish a 12-year-old and teach this 12-year-old a lesson. And if it's true what they said, if it's true what those kids were saying that kid was complaining of having problems breathing, or if it's true what the aunt said that kid was denied a water break, they didn't give him any kind of water breaks, then that school system, that school district, that school, that teacher, they're gonna have hell on their hands. Pressure. Go ahead and unmute your mic. You got it.
I was just going to say about, I know you were talking about the temperature where you are. So,
and you in Texas, so I know it's hot as hell there.
Man, let me tell you, and plus I work at a refinery too, so I'm hard hat, got fire retardant.
Oh, yeah.
Pants, got steel toe boots. I promise. They do the heat. Every 30 minutes, they do the heat and the heat index. They got to report it. It was 7:53 in the morning. Right? It was already 94 degrees. It wasn't even 8 o'clock yet. It wasn't even 9. It wasn't even close to 9 o'clock. So that the heat index is real. It is real. And you talk about a 12-year-old child who doesn't have the immune system, doesn't have, never really worked a hard day's work like an adult. I could just imagine what that child went through before he or she passed away. I guess it was a he. But because I know all the symptoms of the heat stroke before you go, and it's just, I just couldn't imagine being a parent and hearing something like that.
Yeah, real talk. Let me read a couple comments at Nightfall.
Real quick too, no?
Go ahead.
Real quick, I don't know who you were speaking about. Someone said, "How could he get locked up and he wasn't there?" It's called conspiracy. There are plenty of people in jail for life that didn't kill anybody, but you conspired with the murderer. Same thing with, I have a friend who was a getaway driver like 15 years ago in a bank robbery. He did 17 years. He had nothing to do. He didn't see the inside of the bank, didn't have a weapon. He was a driver. Like I said, they gave him 17 years. So you don't have to, pull the proverbial trigger to get charged with the same, to be looked at as, to be looked at as culpable. So that's why you got that time.
And another thing, it's important to give these kind of stories legs. It's important to get these type of stories out there to the actual mass public as well too. I was driving today and I was flipping the station and I heard D.L. Hughley. Not that I really listened to D.L. Hughley, but I heard D.L. Hughley people, and they were talking about the story we was talking about last night with Takaya. And they were talking about her being shot, being killed, pregnant, stuff like that. So it's good that these type of stories get out there. So the mainstream media, DL has a huge platform and stuff like that too. So hundreds of thousands of people probably heard that yesterday as well too. So, it's definitely our job to continue to try to put these stories out there. Unfortunately, some of these stories like this one and the one last night is extremely sad. Now, I'll be the first to say that, and sometimes it does wear you down actually reporting this stuff and talking about it and having discussions about it like we do in these spaces and podcasts. But, sometimes it's important just to go ahead and keep it and keep it out there and put it out there to the general public as well, too. So, and this story broke about a week or so ago as well, too. So I know a number of you guys probably heard it, but this story about a week or so ago, I end up hearing it or whatever, and I didn't get a chance to do a space on it, but I definitely want to talk about that as well, too. I was able to mix it in tonight with the Proud Boy situation. But let me go ahead real quick and read a couple posts on YouTube from my man Nightfall. Read a couple posts real quick. Nightfall said, "There's a difference between discipline and punishment." I agree. He said, "Was that PE teacher even qualified as a PE teacher? Too often they take teachers who have degrees in English or math and make them gym instructors." Yeah, that's kind of the truth as well, too. Adult or child, high heat is not good for breathing, period, as prolonged exposure causes heat damage to the lungs and other airways, especially in dry heat with no moisture in the air. It's akin to breathing in an oven. Let's be for real. That's real talk. Like I said, we see that you got athletes out here falling out from in cardiac arrest. I was reading something. It's not all that uncommon in athletes as well too. I know a lot of times we look at athletes as being fit and in shape and everything else, and there's stress and strain that you put on your heart as well too. So there are a number of athletes that have suffered from cardiac arrest, people that you would think was in top tier condition, a top tier shape and stuff like that. So let alone an actual 12-year-old child. So to sit up here and push this 12-year-old child out there, like I said, I don't even understand the point of that. I don't understand why. Hey, you just didn't say, hey, you know what? Since you didn't dress today, you go ahead and sit down or whatever. Don't participate or whatever. And you come back tomorrow, bring your outfit the way it used to happen to most of us in this space. At least I can say I definitely know this. I rarely ever did not dress out, but if you did, then you didn't participate, and it was just simple as that. You weren't punished, you weren't treated bad or this and that or whatever. You weren't made an example out of. Hell, he ain't on the football team. Ain't no point for him to be running like that, or the basketball team or the wrestling team. So that to me, just I don't know. To me, that's just complete nonsense. Like I said, and this school district and this teacher and this school, they should have a fight on their hands right here. This is an open to shut the case, like I said, and whether that child said he was having problems breathing or not, or whether he asked for water or not. Regardless, you're a grown person. You should have enough sense to know that, hey, nobody 12 years old or 13 or 14, hell, nobody at that, like I say, if athletes, college athletes, high school athletes, and professional athletes and everything else can take a break out of the heat, I see no reason why a 12-year-old child should not be able to take a break as well too. So let me go ahead. I said we got FBA Goddess up here. I'm gonna get to you, original FBA Goddess. How you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing good. I was thinking about this also. I'm talking about this the other night as well about this 12-year-old. I did hear about it. I also heard that his mother already discussed with them as far as it's too hot for the kids to go outside, and here he is going outside, and they making him exercise with his clothes on in the heat, knowing it's really hot. He had no business out there running, but they knew something was wrong because the students ran over and gave him aid, not the teachers. The students did. They knew something was wrong. They started throwing water on him. So all of this is crazy to me. How you would push a 12-year-old just because he did not dress out. And I know you were talking about, as far as in PE. It's been plenty of times I didn't dress out because I didn't want to. But I was never made to go run outside. I mean, I might get ISS or something like that or whatever, or got some points taken off, but never have the punishment where I'm going to have to lose my life over a gym class. Hell no. But yeah, some more stuff have to be done. More talk have to be done in reference to this young child. This has to continue going out there. People need to hear these stories. There's so many of these stories out here that are not getting heard. And I'm thankful for you that you continue to bring these stories out, because a lot of people are not talking about them. And if we don't talk about it, they won't talk about it. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. And I did not know that you said that the actual kids rushed to his aid before the actual teachers and grown-ups did.
Yes, they threw water. The students threw water on him, not the teachers. The students ran over. They knew something was wrong, and they went over and started throwing water on him. So if the kids had enough sense to know that this boy needed aid, what the hell was wrong with them grown people?
Oh, just total negligence. Just 100% incompetence right here. Total negligence. The kids, you sitting up here telling me that other 12-year-old kids had more common sense than grown-ups that actually went to college, had a degree and everything else. Like, oh my God. Nightfall says every teacher out there needs to be fired. You ain't lying. Every teacher out there any teacher that was out there on that field that was in eyesight, and those kids went over there and beat them to the actual child right there. Yeah, they all should be packing up their damn belongings tomorrow and leaving that school. Ridiculous. Go ahead, original. You got it.
Oh yeah, no, sir. I just want to share with you. We had a teacher here at Benjamin E. Mays High School, not too far from my house. They was out. They was playing a football game, and this coach punched one of the players in the stomach. I guess for what he think he did wrong. And this is why I tell people, teach your children that yes, you have to be respectful to some of these people. but do not let them make you do something. Don't let them do anything to you that's not in your best interest. Because I know this brother, his son, he's 16 or 17 now. But this teacher kind of got out of line with his son, and he went over to the school and let the teacher know, no, you won't treat this child like this. And so what happened is this same teacher saw him when he was out. His eyes bucked. He got scared, but he thought the father was going to come and beat his ass. And I mean, I hate to say this, but sometimes you just might have to go there. But the main thing is that, I mean, and this crazy fool that hit this child in the stomach, I mean, it's just insane. Because and some of these coaches, that's why I did not, and see the coaches that was at my high school, they was all white. So that's one of the reasons why, hell no, you were not going to talk to me in the kind of way and expect me to do something. Oh, hell no. And you white too? Oh, please. Better go somewhere and sit down. But yeah, but sometimes I would just still stress to everyone, talk to your family members who have children, your family members and friends, and just let them know we have to change this process of how our children engage with adults who are supposed to have authority. Because just because they have authority, and if they want to make them do something that's not going to be beneficial to them, they need to just sit down, if they got to sit on the floor or whatever, and say, call my parents, and I'll let my parents handle this. But there is no excuse for this. But I've been looking, I haven't been able to find the food. I'm sure it's probably it's either a white or a Spanish-speaking person at this school. It's in a part of California saying this probably. And that's another thing too. People are, moving into these areas where there's you're like about the very few black people are there. It's like that's kind of another issue too. But I just want to stress to people, just have your family members to have these children. When an issue pop up, just sit down and say, call my parents. Because like I said, this teacher that got hot with this guy's son, like I said, when he saw this guy out, he thought the guy was gonna come and beat his ass. That's how his eyes bucked. But so, like I said, sometimes we just may have to go there because at the beginning and ending of each day, it's our children that matter. Not these people who's supposed to have authority. I mean, damn the authority that the adults have if they're not going to treat our children right. That goes out the window, But I would just say, teach them to just sit down and say, call my parents, and I'll land with that.
All right. Thank you, Original. Real quick, guys, up in the Jumbotron, you will find the Newstoter YouTube channel up there. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Definitely go ahead and support. We're trying to grow the YouTube channel. So anybody up in the space that has not, the YouTube channel is up in the Jumbotron. I believe it's it's on the left-hand side. So definitely go ahead, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, for those that can support us on Cash App, $sign Newstoter, $sign Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. If you do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron as well, too. Remember, guys, any amount helps. If you got $1 that you can contribute, that is greatly appreciated. You don't have to break the bank to be a supporter. Let me go ahead and get to and FBA Goddess. I know you have a YouTube channel as well too, so go ahead and put that up in the Jumbotron. Y'all make sure y'all go ahead and follow FBA Goddess on YouTube as well too. So, sister, when you get a chance, go ahead and put that up in the Jumbotron. I'm gonna go ahead and follow you too when I get a chance as well too. So I'll definitely go ahead and follow Black Pressure. I'm gonna get the FBA Goddess, and I got you Riviera as well too coming back. So go ahead, Pressure.
Hey, mine is quick. It's off the subject, right? So I worked hurricane prep Sunday night at my job. I just stolen white folks' money for 10 hours. I didn't do nothing. But we got a little break room. And, hey, man, I saw your seminals, man. What's up? Them boys cut up that night, man.
Oh, yeah. Those boys, they was on point. They was on point Sunday night in prime time. They gave Gave LSU a nice beating out there. yeah, they gave LSU a nice beating Sunday night, so I definitely enjoyed that. So yeah, that was nice to see. Pressure. Absolutely. So yeah, and my Rattlers won as well too. So the Rattlers and the Seminoles took care of business Sunday. They took care of the Rattlers took care of Jackson State University 28-10 in the what classic was that again? The I cannot the Orange Blossom Classic. They took care of them in the Orange Blossom Classic. I think they said that might be filmed last year playing the Orange Blossom Classic. Crazy thing is that they brought all the people to the damn game. So Jackson State didn't travel. I wish Dion could have been there this year so they could have beat Jackson State. But let's be for real. If Dion had been there with his son, them, FAMU would have lost again. So, but shout out to them. Shout out to the Rattlers. Shout out to the Seminoles. They held it down as well too. So.
Hey, and that Klansman at Clemson got his ass whooped. I love that. I loved every second of it.
Oh yeah. Duke went into they went into Clemson, and which I was kind of upset about because I wanted Florida State to expose Clemson, but nonetheless, they took care of them. So shout out on that as well too. Let me go ahead and get to I want to turn it to a football space because I could definitely talk about that. Let me go ahead and get to FBA, back to FBA Goddess.
Oh, I was just gonna say, as far as being when someone was talking about our children, I have my grandson. I talk to my grandson often about different things when it pertains to him and being out here when I'm not around him. So I equipped him with a lot of information, and you can ask him, rattle off anything to my grandson. He gonna tell you what his grandma told him. So I don't play when it comes to my grandkids because I want to be able to make sure that we put information into them so they know what to do when things pop up, like what happened to this young child. My grandson knows that his grandma don't play. And he know that you ain't going to just ask him to do any crazy shit because he ain't going to go for that shit. So if you have your young children or grandchildren or whoever, and you have the ability to speak to them and give them information to be able to, because you're not going to be around them all the time. So they need to be able to be equipped to be able to withstand these people that are out here doing all this crazy shit to our children. Thank you.
Absolutely. Definitely right. See my girl Tata up in the space too. Tata, I hope everything was okay with the hurricane. I hope you and your family was okay. Hopefully y'all weren't impacted by it. So shout out to all my people in Florida here, those that went through the hurricane. Hopefully you guys okay. You got your power on and everything. You weren't really impacted by it. Shout out to my people in Georgia and the Carolinas too, because y'all went through it as well too. I saw a damn car get flipped over in the Carolinas. So shout out to our people on the East Coast, the southern East Coast as well too, because yeah, that storm was a monster that came through as well too, and we were about to get hit with a Category 4, and thing at the last minute veered off. We got the tropical storm effects to it and stuff, but we didn't get hit by that Category 4 like we thought. So shout out to everybody. Hopefully y'all safe and everybody's okay as well too. So just want to go ahead and say that much because it did impact so much of the South as well. Go ahead, Rivera, you got it. Rivera, you are super low. I know you say give you a minute, but you are super low, bro. Like you definitely try to just when you come back, try to just turn the sound up all the way up because it's really low. Like you can hear like FBA Goddess and Pressure and Original, like we can hear them loud and clear, but you are really low. So definitely when you come back, try to crank it up as much as possible. I see some of our people up in here, so shout out to all of y'all up in here. I see y'all chilling in the listener space. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We just been talking about this as well too. And tomorrow night I gotta definitely join. I need to go ahead and tweet that space out right now too, because once again, Florida's back in it, man. Florida, oh my God, Florida doesn't know when to sit down and when to shut up. And I don't know really what you can say about Florida at this point in time. It's almost a lost cause, to be honest, but it is what it is. I'm going to put that space up in the Jumbotron as well, too. I'm going to go ahead and tweet it out. I already made it up earlier. I just didn't tweet it out. We had a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and tweet it out. DJ, you up in the space? I know DJ was over there on YouTube as well too, so he be floating back and forth. You say you up into space?
Yeah, I'm in here all the time. What's going on?
No, I know I hit you up. I called you one time, but I didn't see
I
you.
was in the background tweeting some shit, so I couldn't come up.
Okay, let me tweet this space out for tomorrow night. I'll let you add something real quick. Tweet this space out for tomorrow night real quick. Because once again, I don't know. Florida is Florida. I know that much. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Like I said, I'm glad everybody was safe from that storm. And yeah, the title for tomorrow night is Florida Jewish Community Center stops luncheon about slavery. You had this author in Palm Beach. She came to they was having this $100 luncheon, and some of her Jewish buddies did not like the author. The book that she had penned about slavery is almost a nonfiction book, so they went ahead and they pretty much stopped her from actually coming down there and actually speaking. And now it's a big kickback down there. It's a big kickback. It's a big blowback about what's going on. So I ain't even gonna get into that. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I may add another topic.
You also talk about what's going on down there in Disney World with all the Nazis and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. I told you that's the wonderful world of Florida. Oh yeah, like the Nazis was coming down there marching and shit. Like yes. Oh my God. Like I said, I can't really put Florida into words. And everybody thought this was like some kind of tropical paradise. And I kept trying to tell everybody, like, yo, this is no tropical paradise. This is not Mickey Mouse and the beaches and all that other stuff that y'all always see on TV and whatnot. You got some real peckerwoods down here in this state. Real peckerwoods. So we'll get into that too as well tomorrow. And I think I put that up in the Jumbotron. Yeah, I put that up in the Jumbotron, guys. So it's on the far left-hand side, the space for tomorrow night. Like you say, FBA got us, and I got the actual article about the Nazis and stuff because I tweeted that out. So I'll just add that as well too. So I guess we'll add that to the conversation as well. It's crazy that you have so many people in the Jewish community that anytime something is mentioned about them, they stand up. But now you're sitting up here standing up. They're just going with all this crap, all this anti-black stuff in Florida as well too. So yeah, we gonna dig into that. Like I say, I don't even want to touch up on that tonight because that's gonna be definitely tomorrow's night conversation as well too. So y'all definitely check it out. But anybody else that has anything they want to say, Rivera, are you back? Can you hear me? I know Rivera said, hold on for a minute. DJ, you want to add something into the space?
Yes. CC Punk has Enrique in about 30 years, you know what I'm saying? Good for your dumb ass. I hope your whole crew get burnt up and beat up in jail. You already know CC Punk can. And if I was that parent, I'll be beating that PE teacher ass up. Straight up. I'll be beating their ass. You know what I mean?
Real talk. Well, guys, I mean, I guess on that note, we're not going to, unless somebody wants to say something real quick, we ain't going to keep the space open any longer than it has to. So we definitely, anybody wants to say something, go ahead and get it in, raise your hand, come on up here, talk. If not, then we'll just go ahead and,
Hey, NBA guys, could you speak about that elder gentleman brother that maybe had trying to get his house taken down there, Texas?
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
It's actually his land. He had land down there, and they're trying to actually, what they're trying to do is buy him out, but he said he didn't want to buy, he didn't want to sell his land. So then they went to try to steal his land, and one of them actually attached itself to his land. They also told him that if he didn't sell, that they were just going to build around him to actually just kind of, box him out or whatever. So and this man is 81, 82 years old, and he wants his land. He's crying. I mean, it's terrible. These people are trying to do eminent domain. They're trying to do anything to be able to take this man's land so that they will be able to profit off of his land.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that he was 81 years old, and he was having to fight back the tears and stuff like that as well too. So Yeah, your heart definitely goes out for him, and it seems like, and it's definitely gaining a little bit of steam and stuff like that. So hopefully he'll be able to keep a hold of that property. Does he have any family down there anywhere?
He said that he was trying to give the land to his nephew or his some cousin, somebody like that. But and that's when he found out that they had their hand in trying to get his land, because he was trying to, let somebody in his family build their home on his land. And that's how he found out that they were messing around. So he does have family. I'm not so sure as far as like children, because he didn't mention any. He only mentioned like that person he was trying to allow to use his land.
All right. Well, we're gonna definitely keep our eyes up on that one there and see how that plays out as well. Too, Rivera, you was getting ready to talk. Go ahead, unmute your mic.
Okay. Hold on.
That sounds a lot better there, for real.
Look at the Jumbotron.
You say look at the Jumbotron.
Those are the PE teachers.
Oh, okay. Those are the teachers there, the PE teachers.
Those are all 4 PE teachers. So out of that list, one of
Oh,
them is PE teachers.
holy shit. Oh, okay. So these are the
people. I tell you can't hide nothing from Black Americans. You can't hide.
Damn. I wonder which one was a dumbass that told them to do the laps. Which one of them it was? Either way, it's time for them to go ahead and call it a day. Like, y'all out of here. I don't know which one it was, but
they're saying it's Mindy Gilliard.
Okay.
I knew it was the woman. I just said that out loud. I said it probably was the woman. Wow.
So she was in her Karen ways then, huh?
Julie Land. That's the name. Julie Land.
Yeah. So she because of her stupidity, this young boy is dead. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, Rivera. I'm glad you was able to find that as well too. Let me go ahead and read.
Somebody said right here in one of the comments that is, somebody reported that it was being in the 90s, and this person said, misreported it was in the hundreds that day, not 90s. I live here. I have had this concern since school started. It's been in the hundreds here every day in August, 3:30 p.m. pickup. It's 110 plus degrees. Just cooled off this week to the 80s. This poor little boy died with teacher sick power trip. That's right. Also, they're saying that the medical examiner and the coroner both agreed that it was a medical issue. It could be more than likely a medical issue and not related.
They said cardiac arrest. In the article I read, they said it was cardiac arrest. So, yeah, and they said it was 100. It got up to 106 that day. So, all that.
Yeah, the 106 had nothing to do with what these white folks have known.
They're trying to protect teachers.
Yeah, they're trying to protect. They're trying to find a way to weasel up out of this one right here, but I don't think that's going to happen. Straight 88, go ahead and unmute your mic.
It's straight no chaser, but that's cool.
Oh, okay, my bad.
That's okay. But like I said, and how do we know that was just her ego trip? How we don't know that it was due to other things like a hate crime or something? How do we know it wasn't that?
Well, at this point, we don't know. I think it'd be pretty hard to say it was a hate crime. Just looking at how things transpired, it's going to be negligence. I know that, but I don't know if you'll be able to prove anything about a hate crime. But at this point in time,
just like I said before, the staff there, they know each other and they know who is who.
Yeah.
So, if they investigate this, so that if it is, that'll come out if that's what it is, because we don't know if it's not that.
Yeah, at this point in time, we really don't know. But like I said, it's got to be something. Something's got to happen. You just can't just go ahead and just tell people, okay, well, you guys get suspended for a week or two or something like that, and you come back and you resume your duties or something like that. So at this point in time, it's kind of hard to say exactly what's going to happen, but we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this one here as well, too.
Yeah, because just like Mr. Original said, sometimes how do we know that this wasn't a kid who might have stood up and said something, and that's why he was punished? Because adults do target our kids. These white adults will target them.
The child asked for water, and the teacher said that the child had asked for water. The teacher said that they couldn't get it. So he had asked at some point, "Hey, I need some water." So I think it was heat related.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah. I'm just hoping it ain't hate related going along with it, because if that is it, that means we need to be coming a whole different way.
Yeah, this is another story that needs to really, really get up in the national media's attention as well, too. So hopefully, this story will constantly keep getting more and more airtime and more play as well, too. Hopefully, the family's able to raise that money for the young child's funeral expenses as well, too. So definitely.
What I'll do is I'll reach out. I'll be able to reach out and to the family so I can get some information. So I'll do that.
Definitely do that, FBA goddess, and let us know, and then we can go ahead and start posting the GoFundMe link as well too, and try to raise some money for this child's funeral services as well too.
They got it GoFundMe. I think the aunt, she's on TikTok. I posted the link to the GoFundMe. The aunt just got a TikTok page and everything. She's talking about it. I think they raised $38,000.
Okay.
To Kitty Young's funeral tomorrow, so by the way.
Yeah, I know her funeral's coming up. Nightfall said this sounds like a cover up. The parents need an independent autopsy done. Hey, I wouldn't. I'm not against you on that either, Nightfall. Like I said, with these people, they kind of stick together when stuff like this happens as well too, and try to minimize the impact, especially whenever it's a black person that dies like this. It's always a way of how we can minimize everything. So I am definitely.
It's gonna be kind of hard though with those kids.
Yeah, that's true. Those kids was there too, so those kids are going to be able to rip through a lot of that as well too, because they actually, especially how you said, they actually, like you said, they went up there and they were the ones that actually responded first and foremost to the child falling out and stuff like that, and these other people didn't. But yeah, that's going to be a tough one. That is going to be a tough one.
I think it needs to be some criminal charges actually filed, if you ask me, not just people getting slapped on the hand, whatever you call it. They need to have some criminal charges. This child is dead. This child is not coming back. It's not something that you can just brush over and say, "Hey, oh my gosh, he's sick." No, this child is dead. You can't bring back this child. So there needs to be some criminal charges pressed, because you know better than to put a child out there in heat like that. So I don't want to hear that it was negligence and something that, oh my God, they made a mistake. No, you knew you wouldn't go out there in that heat and run. So why would you send a 12-year-old child out there? So criminal charges, I think, needs to be done.
And to punish them for getting their gym clothes. That's another thing. You know what I mean? So this is really an argument of school board and rules of the school board, because why is it even mandatory that you take physical education anyway? It shouldn't be mandatory. That is the real argument right there, that it's mandatory that you got to take gym. So my freshman year of high school, I didn't take PE because it was my first class. And even though I passed all my classes with grace, they held me back my freshman year of high school because I didn't participate in PE. I had to not only pay to get into a summer school program. I was in there from 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon doing strictly gym, straight up, for not participating in gym. And I had to pay for it too in order to advance to the 10th grade. Real shit.
Nightfall, he was asking, did it happen in Texas? No, it happened out there in California. This situation happened in California. Go ahead, straight no chaser.
FBA, I can't see the rest of her name, but she brought up a good point. the kids, like I said, the staff know who is racist and who's not. The kids do too, and maybe that's why they took over. They saw that some that what needed to be handled wasn't being taken care of.
Well, yeah, if they had to wait, if I mean, who knows when the actual adults would actually found the poor child out there? Because apparently they didn't know what the hell was going on. So
what was going on is that instead of them helping, they were trying to say that he was playing. They were telling him to stop playing and all that kind of stuff. But the children, they were right there. They had enough damn sense to know that this child ain't fucking playing. He was dying. And so they threw water on him to try to save his life. And they weren't able to do that.
So these people are complete imbeciles as well, too.
Well, not only that, and it's in quotes, he was reaching out to the teacher saying he needed some water, and he said he couldn't breathe. His aunt told NBC4.
Hey, where's Ben Crump at? Because like normally he floats around cases like that. Where's Ben Crump at? He's not out there with the family.
Stay where the hell he at. We don't need his Yuli chaser or something. We don't need him. Let him stay where the hell he at. We can people that actually care about what's going on and not care about a damn check. That's who needs to worry about what's going on with this baby. Not them type of people. They don't give a fuck.
We need the residents of Minnesota. That's what we need to come down there.
You need something. Good Lord. Like, I'm just surprised because whenever a story like this breaks, like as soon as you hear it, he's already there with the family. Like he's already, and he's releasing statements and everything else as well too. So that's the part I'm just shocked that he hasn't already been there with the family. I didn't.
He probably on his way. You know him. He'll skate on in there. He probably on his way. And because it hasn't got a lot of play out here, people not a lot of people talk about it. But when it get kicked up and a lot of people start talking about it, you gonna see his ass. He gonna come out. It's not nobody's talking about it a lot, so he's not gonna jump on it. But when we all start talking about it, it's brought out in the limelight and it's getting a lot of information. A lot of people looking at it. Then that's when he'll come out. It's only when it's gonna draw attention and money.
Yeah, I was about to say it probably ain't enough money in it for him. You know what I'm saying? There you go. It's all Ray, you up here?
Yeah, Ray's up here. Ray, go ahead. You got it.
What's going on, everybody? Real quick question, News, for you. I know it's off topic, but I just wanted to hear your opinions on Elon Musk suing the ADL.
I heard about that, Ray. Yeah, I heard. I know they had a space about it, and I heard about it, but I don't know a whole lot. I haven't really been paying a whole lot of attention to it, so I have to go ahead and kind of check up on that a little bit because I heard them talk about the ADL and everything else and Elon Musk, but I really hadn't been on it too much, so I have to kind of like research it a little bit.
They say, Ray, what's the claim?
I can answer that question. So to make a long story, let me get my phone over here so y'all can hear me too. So to make a long story short, the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, you already know they Jewish owned and backed and all this other stuff. So this dude named Kyle went out to I think it was like Texas or something like that. And he met up with two white women that were part of the ADL. One was from like Arizona and another one was, I think might have been from Texas or somewhere, Louisiana, something like that. And he pretty much got him on tape saying like, yeah, the ADL is the one that control most of these social media sites. We determine or force these social media site owners. And I'll find an article and put it up here too while I'm over here looking. So I think I did both on it. We pretty much be forcing these, Fortune 500 companies, these sites like Facebook, Twitter, or whatever, YouTube, to do our will and our bidding or whatever the case be. So
that ain't no earth-shattering news, really. But go ahead.
Well, actually, it is. If you're talking about disinformation, you feel what I'm saying? That's the most earth-shattering news right there. You know what I mean? Because these people are the main ones that are targeting the voting. Disinformation around voting and shit. They definitely target us as black people. This is why I always tell y'all, hey, we got to get off these WPI apps. This is why it's my name. White politicians are anti-black. But I'm glad Elon is getting this smoke because we tried to tell you as you were coming in as the new owner of Twitter X, whatever you want to call this shit. Hey, Jack Dorsey has been very prejudiced towards us. the whole time he owned Twitter. You see what I'm saying? And let's talk about that too as well, right? You know, what was the real reason why Jack Dorsey got rid of Twitter? Because the feds was on his ass about doing shit with Square and Cash App and all this other stuff. So he had no choice but to really sell it. So in my opinion, this is just really a farce scam or whatever, you know, facade, you know, that these white folks do to make it seem like they all beefing with each other, but in reality, they really in cahoots with each other. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, Ray.
No, you good, man. You pretty much hit all the topics I was gonna hit on. As the brother Brennan always said, that might be rather in the face of, you know, the small hats are involved. Because evidently Elon Musk is losing a whole bunch of money because the ADL told, I guess, their advertisers or whatever, you know, like they stop spending money. There's something going on. And Elon losing money.
Yeah, that's
speaking out.
Well, here's the thing, because ever since Twitter was, you know, told that it was going to be bought by Elon, you know, most of the folks that worked at Twitter were Jews or whatever, or part of the ADL. So once that happened and shit, you know, they went into this frenzy of hysterical, like, oh man, they about to fire us, things about to change, and it has since then. So they upset about that. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously, you know, Elon, he really down with that First Amendment right shit. So hey, say what you want as long as you're really not harassing or really, you know, trying to violate somebody or target somebody in that way. You can say what you want here now on Twitter. And that was it.
Yeah, and you can get your account suspended and banned on Twitter just as quick as you were before with Dorsey was the actual owner of it.
Actually, I gotta kind of disagree a little bit with that. You know what I mean? And the only reason why I say that is because, you know, when you look at certain things that you used to be able to or try to tweet prior to Elon coming in, and that you could say it now, it is a difference, bro. Go ahead. I wasn't sure we wanted to talk.
It is a difference. I want to say that too. It is a difference as far as how I talk. I know it's a difference because I used to get, they used to do me.
I don't see it because, like, I tried to say faggot and they, nah, bro. They shut my shit down for like a day. It's like, nah, you can't say that.
Right, but see, here's the thing, right? So when you get them reports saying, hey, look, you violated Twitter rules and conduct and all this other stuff, do you fight it? As far as like, hey, I like to explain, you know, what I meant by that.
No, I didn't bother trying to appeal and that.
Right. Okay. So moving forward, y'all always appeal your words because again, that's your free speech.
Hey, I appeal, and they still hell since he's been the damn I think since he's been the man. I think I've been suspended twice before with Elon maybe I don't know. I tried to appeal and couldn't appeal, so I don't know about that.
Well, again, it depends on the nature of what was said as well. You know what I'm saying? And then always keep in mind too that these Indian folks, revive back Ramaswamy, aka Salami peoples, they run the internet game. Google, a lot of the search engines and shit like that. So you already know they're anti-black. So if it has something to do with, you know, what we talk about, reparations, shit that's going on, you know, this 12-year-old losing his life because of a white supremacist at this point, they're not going to let that shit go through. You remember, they are on code too with the white supremacy. So they're not going to unsuspend you or look into further detail of why you were suspended. And same thing with Pressure. He's saying the faggot word. Well, hey, you should have told them in a pill. I was talking about a cigarette. Ain't that's what they call over in Europe? Let me get a fag. You know, I wasn't talking about a cigarette. Same thing I used to have to explain to these jokers when I say Negro. Well, how do you know that I'm not explaining something black? Because I might be Spanish or something. See that? It's a play on words. So once you get the understanding of how this shit really works, you can always appeal this shit. But then again, most likely you will not win because we don't have any black people at Twitter, you know, ruling on our behalf. You see what I'm saying? So the other reason why I said I'm glad Elon getting this smoke is because let's not forget a black man sued him at Tesla and won over $100 million settlement. Tesla wound up going back to court to arbitrate the shit because they was mad. $100 million to a nigga. We ain't giving that type of money up. You know how this shit gonna make it look to these other WPI institutions? You see what I'm saying? So they took it back to court. Another judge arbitrated the shit, or lawyer, whatever, and they wound up giving them like $20 million, yo, out of like $100 million lawsuit that he originally won. So you all cold with the black people too, Elon. So I'm glad you're getting the smoke.
I don't care that you're suing the ADL. You know what I'm saying? We all here in this room should be filing class action lawsuits on the ADL and all these social media sites ourselves. There you go. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, Elon. Oh, my bad, Ray. But I was gonna say, yeah, Elon, this joker's from South Africa too, cuz. So I'm just being for real. Like, I personally don't see no difference between him and the other one that owned it, but you know, each is his own. I put them up. They two peas in the pod to me. So Elon said a lot of slick stuff on here about black people too. On like I say, they allow certain things on Twitter to be said. And then when we start saying certain things, we start getting strikes and hits and everything else as well too. It's a bunch of us that done been suspended, done been banned, and I mean everything else as well too. So I don't know. I don't know. Straight Chaser, I just tagged you that as well too. So if you see it, I just tagged you the actual link to that. But go ahead, Ray.
No, I just want to get your opinion on two more things. Just see if you're gonna make a space about them. There's an interview that Tucker Carlson did where go ahead, Mama. Well, Tucker Carlson, he did an interview with I don't know the man's name off the top of my head, but he claimed to be an Obama blogger, and he's actually speaking out. So obviously, former president, you know, might be some big news you might want.
You said he was supposed to be Obama's what now?
Obama's gay lover.
Oh yeah, they've been talking about that for. They've been talking about that for a minute. Like
Yeah, when Black Fresh said that F word, I don't want to get my kind of suspended. When he said that F word, it made me think about that. I forgot about that. Tucker Carlson interview we did with that man. He's talking about all the craziness, whatever. I don't want to get too into it. And I wanted to see if you're going to make a space about brother polite.
Yeah, I just heard about polite thing today, so I'm gonna see what's up on that. Yeah, but I just heard that he was I guess he pleaded guilty and he got 7 years as well too. So yeah, I'm gonna see what's up because there's so many different things, Ray, that they hold a space on and stuff like that. So I'm gonna see what's up. I know people definitely will be holding the space on it. I think I saw somebody holding the space earlier about polite situation. So we'll definitely see what's up. What's up, Pressure?
I was just gonna say, with the polite shit, the person who should be hung on the cross is not polite. It's Sarnetta. Because
why everybody keep blaming Sarnetta? Like Sarnetta didn't.
Because let me tell you why. Those Sarnetta is the channel. He gave everybody their story. Even polite says it's on tape.
That's true.
All of Israelite dudes.
But Sarnetta was saying that he basically was trying to wait until the actual he was trying to give the man his day in court. And when he said, and Sarnetta said, if he's found guilty, if he did this, he like, I don't have anything to do with him or whatever. But so I can't put. I know everybody.
No, it's not that. It's not that. This is what I was gonna say. Before this, right? Everybody was going to Sarnetta and saying, "Hey, man, I mean, it didn't matter what your ideology was. Sarasut said all the Israelite dudes, all them Egyptian, all them cats, all the Moors and all that. Hey, man, this dude is a fucking scam artist. Why you keep putting him up? Why you keep putting him up? And he kept putting that dude up. People were bringing proof. Hey, man, this the receipts. This the lawsuit I filed. This the shit he done been filed. And Sarnetta kept putting that dude on. And that's what I'm saying about that. This dude has been low down for a minute.
Now on that, I have heard people say that about that as well too, about polite scamming and stuff like that for years and stuff like that. So I have heard that part, but I know people are trying to blame Sarnetta for this man going to court and this, and I'm like, this is a grown man. Like Sarnetta didn't have anything to do with this here. So, but I feel what you said on that part there, Pressure. Go ahead, Original, and DJ, then you got it.
I think Ray wanted to say something.
Oh, go ahead, Ray. Go ahead. Well, go ahead, Original. You got it.
Oh yeah, but I want to say that that thing about let me make this clear. I am not a supporter or fan of Barack. I remember when he was running for the White House, and I called it to the radio stations here, and I would say, Barack Hussein Obama. These black folks, they would get scared. Why you got to say Hussein? But they live in fear like that. But that's been floating around for a long time. And someone that I know, they purchased his book. And he talked in his book how he met this African guy. He was traveling through Europe or somewhere. And so they was, I said, well, sound like somebody got fucked. Okay. And that's it. That's in his book, the way he described how he and this African encountered each other, you know. I don't know.
Hey, hold it down real quick for me, DJ. I'll be right back.
But that's an old story with him. I didn't buy his book because I am not a supporter of his. I'm not buying anything that has his name or face on it. But I am not a supporter of his. Well, and I'll say this too. When Black Pressure said that, when he talked about Sonetta, see, one of the reasons people don't like Sonetta is this. See, back in the 90s, when you had a lot of the black scholars, they would come to these different events and they would, give lectures and things. Sonetta would be up in these forums. He would either record them or he would purchase their tape or whatever, and then he would sell the tape and not give those scholars any of the proceeds from those tapes. So that's another reason why people do not like Sonetta, because he's always been scamming people. So he's like a scammer. And I heard about that thing with Polite. This one, it was a brother had posted something saying people was mad at him because what he was saying about Polite and stuff, and he played a recording where Polite played guilty. And I just left a comment. Well, I hope somebody get him some Vaseline with Teflon in it to keep the meat from sticking. I'll play with that.
Oh man, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And look, let's talk in one other thing. Polite was messing with them underage girls, so that's already been somewhat proven too. So ain't no need to say allegedly on that. So whatever time he got, he should have got double. You go on that one, man. And I gotta kind of agree with you on that one, Pressure. We ain't blaming Sonetta, but like, damn, bro, if other people was coming to you saying, hey, look, this dude just scammed me, I got scam bomb, you keep promoting them, yeah, we should do, hey, see you later, Sonetta, we ain't fucking with you either, you know what I mean?
And I'm not on no bash Sonetta, nothing like that. I actually like him because he put a lot of people on that the mainstream would never put on, but when it comes to that Polite, he got a hold of L. He have to.
Oh yeah, all day on that one, all day.
I was gonna ask the original, do you think there's any truth to it? Because obviously this dude, making this look like Obama, but Obama's own brother is saying the same exact thing. It's fault, just fire.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. According to what this brother read to me out of Obama's own book, it could be true. And if his brother is saying it, yeah, because if you read that book, I think it was that. I can't think of the name of it. I think it was the first book that he wrote. And then this brother, he said, I want to read this to you and let me know what you think. And he read it to him. I said, it sounds like he got fucked. That's what that sounded like. I don't know any other way to put it. But so I think you may have it right with that, Ray.
And look, you already know the white folks, right? The colonizers, they love talking about this stuff, you know what I mean? And Obama had 8 years in office. He, for the most part, put him there. Didn't do anything for Negroes. Biden doing the same thing. Black people pretty much put not me, and not pretty much not most folks in this room, put his crack ass in office too. He ain't doing nothing for Negroes. So whatever smoke Obama getting, Biden getting, hey man, that's the ancestors with the retribution. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is, yo. Ancestors with the retribution. That's all.
All right, y'all. I'm back. On that note, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna end it for the night, everybody. So I appreciate everybody coming through. Check us out tomorrow night because we're going to definitely have that space going on, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I appreciate everybody coming through. Thank you for supporting. Make sure you go ahead and follow us on YouTube. Definitely do that if you have not. Appreciate it so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Everybody have a good one. Peace.
Peace.
Oh, Ray, you got something you want to say real quick?
Sorry, I just hit the wrong emoji. My bad, bro.
Okay. Peace, y'all.